Other interesting political news, you have DeSantis going viral for the very first time and seemingly to smile authentically after he dropped out. Now, that of course happened earlier this week, but as we let the post on X Twitter age a little bit, it soon became one of, actually no, the most viral moments ever for Ron DeSantis. And his smile actually looks authentic. And truth be told, his old demeanor actually almost seems like he's happier. I mean, one of the biggest cliches we talked about on the show is DeSantis' smile. And again, he has some exceptionally great policies that led to people moving to Florida. It led to the Florida exponentially increasing everything from end users to businesses. There are a lot of wins. And then on the cultural front, a lot of people were attracted to him because he had a track record of success as governor of Florida. Now, subsequently, his marketing was so bad it almost seemed like he shot himself in the high-heeled boots with a .50 caliber. But nevertheless, he always had that awkward smile. Some might debate as awkward as Dylan Mulvaney or myself. It'd be a tough competition. But he always just felt, a lot of people say inauthentic, awkward, and the smile was just weird and not beyond all belief. But in this little dropout video, he actually seems elated. And the smile looks normal. Now, this also got, again, we wrote these statistics down actually a full 24 hours after they were done. And this got 42.1 million views, which for DeSantis is more than 4 times better, I believe, than his top post. I think he's trying to think of the most viral moment he had throughout his whole campaign on X Twitter. I think he peaked at around 1.2 million. I mean, it's a fraction of a fraction, to say the least. And interesting enough, this got more likes than anything he's ever posted. As we covered this for about a year, this got 75,000 likes, which is huge. Or Trump might say, huge. The most likes for DeSantis. But nevertheless, you might debate if that's the worst impression all year. Granted, it's been a short year. But as long as it hopefully made you smile, it's worth it. And it's about 4.5 minutes long, so we'll play a couple of first minutes of it. And interesting enough, he did have a little quote before the video. And he says, quote, "Success is not failure." No, see, if you click the subscribe button, it may very help with my perhaps dyslexia or speaking ineptitudes, which there are many. However, if you look at the first couple of videos when you had basically no subscribers, I tripped over my words a lot more and would actually speak faster if you thought it was possible, and stumble across my words and stutter a lot, to say the least. However, the more subscribers we've gained throughout the show, the better we've gotten. I can't help but think it's not a coincidence. So, if you could click that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you have 1/1000th of a second to give me a thumbs up or down for additional feedback, also appreciate it. So, again, Ron DeSantis says, quote, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts," unquote, from actually Winston Churchill. And we'll play the first minute or two here.
Greetings from Florida. The warmth of being home is a reminder why I've chosen public service. From joining the United States Navy and serving in Iraq, to representing the people in the U.S. Congress, and now serving as governor of Florida. And it reminds me why I decided to run for president, to fight for those who have been forgotten in this country. This is America's time for choosing. We can choose to allow a border invasion, or we can choose to stop it. We can choose reckless borrowing and spending, or we can choose to limit government and lower inflation. We can choose political indoctrination, or we can choose classical education. These choices are symptoms of the underlying struggle to ensure that constitutional government can endure and that Western civilization can survive. And we launched this campaign to bring accountability to government, regain sovereignty at our border, and restore sanity to our society. We cannot succeed as a country if we allow our nation to be invaded, our currency to be debased, our cities to crumble, and our kids to be indoctrinated. The DC elites who facilitated this mess do not care about you, and they do not work for you. They work for themselves. They seek to accumulate power at your expense to pursue an agenda that is harmful to the American people. Citizens do not serve politicians. It is the duty of politicians to serve you. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. Reversing the decline of this nation requires leadership that delivers big results for the people we are elected to serve. I have a record of leading with conviction, championing an agenda marked by bold colors, delivering on my promises, and defeating the people who are responsible for our nation's decline. That is the type of leadership we need for all of America. Now, over the past many months, Casey and I have traveled across the country to deliver a message of hope, that decline is a choice, and that we can, in fact, succeed again as a nation. Nobody worked harder, and we left it all out on the field. Now, following our second place finish in Iowa, we've prayed and deliberated on the way forward. If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him. Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee.
That is kind of funny or interesting. Even as he's dropping out and subsequently, spoiler alert, he will actually endorse Donald Trump, he still pokes him a little bit, which I guess perhaps if he has a long-term political career or attempting a long-term political career, he still wants to try to gather both supporters, the ones who do like Trump and the ones who don't like Trump, maybe? But it's just interesting to put a little jab in there. A little critique, some might say.
I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents. The days of putting Americans last, of kowtowing to large corporations, of caving to woke ideology are over. I thank all of our passionate supporters who stood by us through it all. That we had people volunteer to come to Iowa in the middle of a blizzard to knock on doors and make phone calls touched us dearly. No candidate had more thrown at him, but no candidate had so many committed volunteers and staff. Finally, I want to thank my wife, Casey, and our kids, Madison, Mason, and Mamie. Casey's gone far above and beyond in her support for our campaign and for our cause. She's not only a great wife and mother, she's a great American who cares deeply about the future of the country that our kids will inherit. Our kids have seen and done a lot on the trail, from playing on the famed Field of Dreams baseball site in Iowa to making their first snowman in New Hampshire. They are one of the reasons we fight so hard for what we believe in. Winston Churchill once remarked that success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. While this campaign has ended, the mission continues. Down here in Florida, we will continue to show the country how to lead. Thank you, and God bless.
So, I guess he did a separate video to endorse Trump, which, again, I don't know why he didn't just combine all his messages into one video, but nevertheless, that is his most viral moment in his political history, is him dropping out. And that's also his most liked video ever. So, it'll be interesting to see if he has a long-term political career. I'm probably guessing most of the comments are going to be critiquing him, asking him, well, why didn't you do this months ago? Why are you dropping out now? And a lot of people thought he was going to hang in there for the New Hampshire primary and maybe go a little more, but yeah, this is interesting to see. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. Now, go back to the comments. One of the first ones comes from Paul Zazupa. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his name. I messaged him on Twitter to try to see if I can learn the correct pronunciation, but I have not heard back. So that's just attempted, nevertheless. He said, quote, "Took DeSantis long enough. He never should have campaigned. Now his political future is toast. What a waste. $300 million down the toilet. Only positive here is he didn't wait even longer," unquote. That got 385 likes. Josh Power says, quote, "Thank you, Governor DeSantis, your hero, a patriot, and a legendary Florida man," unquote. They got 1.2 thousand likes. Which, again, the people of Florida love DeSantis. I mean, he's done a great job as governor. I mean, I suspect somehow, at it'll be interesting to see, but I think in the short term, I say the short term in terms of politics, maybe a couple of years, he'll have some type of additional leadership role in some capacity in Florida. That's my prediction. You have Ian Myers Chong saying, quote, "Thank you for putting up a good fight. Time to rally behind Trump and save America from destruction," quote, getting 3.5 thousand likes. You have Cernovich saying, quote, "You need to fire a lot of people. This is assuming your candidacy was a legitimate attempt to win," unquote, getting 3.3 thousand likes. Which, yes, I don't know who's in charge of his marketing. Perhaps it is the same gal who worked at Bud Light, but yeah, it was terrible to say the least. He started his campaign around 33% in the poll aggregator, and he crashed down to around 11%, behind Nikki Haley. Which, again, I would argue in terms of the political past and acumen and successes of Nikki Haley DeSantis, I would say DeSantis had a lot more wins under his belt and a more proven successful track record, and yet, at the end of the day, she pulled ahead of him in the polls, and even in some of the caucuses as well. Actually, no, I guess he did beat her in Iowa by a little bit. But again, in most of the polls and aggregators, DeSantis was still, he went behind Nikki Haley. We'll do one or two more. Outspoken TM says, quote, "Wrong, DeSantis ends his political presidential campaign, endorses Trump, and attributes a quote to Woodrow Wilson, or Churchill, who never said those words. So on point," unquote, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Mary Talia Bowden says, quote, "A running theme in Texas during the pandemic was, quote, why isn't Abbott doing what DeSantis is doing? Unquote, thank you for leading the way in medical freedom," unquote, getting 1.1 thousand likes. 3-year Letterman says, quote, "Rod, Winston Churchill was a great American, but it's inappropriate to invoke his words when quitting. Also, Trump is not eligible to serve 2 terms unless they're consecutive, so it makes no sense to endorse him," unquote. That mentally vacuous statement did get 3,000 likes. I say that because, was it Grover Cleveland? It has happened before where you've had presidents with non-consecutive terms. It's exceedingly rare, but again, that's not illegal to do. Let's see here. Chloe Cole says, quote, "Thank you for keeping parental rights and gender ideology issues in the discussion. I'm sure you'll continue to stand with parents and against the attack on children as the great Florida governor you are," unquote. Getting 1.6 thousand likes. And more or less, that's a lot of these comments. There's a couple roasting him, saying, calling him pejorative terms like losers. There's getting between 800 and 2,000 likes. And there are a lot of people, saying, welcome back to Florida. Hope you can do great things there. And let's see here. A lot of people are giving him a little credit for dropping out. So it'll be interesting to see what the political future is for Ron DeSantis. But let's just say, if I were to ask the Magic 8 Ball, granted it doesn't have this option by default, perhaps asking a custom Magic 8 Ball, the outlook would probably say Florida for now. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of January. So if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up or a thumbs down and comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.